right now, and they all know that. But, you know, occupancy-wise, we're still
I think she's back in Beloit. I think so. Maybe we'll see her again.
we got 767 hotel rooms. We're always selling about half to two-thirds on a good night, but on average about half. Well, for some properties, not all properties. Especially so the math comes out. And we just keep plugging away.
Now we're good. Good evening. The time is now 7 o'clock. I'd like to call this meeting of the Beloit City Council to order. Madam Clerk, can we get a roll call, please?
All councilors present, except Vice President Keys is absent.
Thank you. Next item is Pledge of Allegiance, and we'll stand at this time and then remain standing for Randall Riley of Edgerton, who is a Rock County DPW worker who tragically passed.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you.
Item 3 is special orders of the day and announcements. Item 3A is proclamation recognizing April 29th, 2022 as Roy Chapman Andrews Day.
Tonight we have Councilor Mark Preschel reading the proclamations.
Well, an official proclamation. Whereas Roy Chapman Andrews devoted his childhood in Beloit, Wisconsin to a tireless pursuit of knowledge about the natural world, and whereas Roy Chapman Andrews secured his formal education through Beloit schools, culminating in his graduation from Beloit College in 1906, and whereas Roy Chapman Andrews went on from Beloit to become the world-famous explorer for the American Museum of Natural History, discovering new species of animals including during a series of daring expeditions to the Gobi in Mongolia, previously unknown dinosaurs, the first nest of dinosaur eggs, and fossils of mammals that lived alongside the dinosaurs. And whereas the accomplishments of Roy Chapman Andrews continue to gain new attention and recognition today, both locally and nationally, through the efforts of the Roy Chapman Andrews Society of Beloit, and whereas the Society is celebrating 100 years of Roy Chapman Andrews' first of 5 Central Asiatic expeditions to Mongolia, where he made worldwide news by discovering the first nest of dinosaur eggs, and whereas the legacy of Roy Chapman Andrews will be celebrated on Friday, April 29th, 2022, when the Roy Chapman Andrews Society bestows its Distinguished Explorer Award on Dr. Philip Curry, internationally renowned dinosaur paleontologist and museum curator who has advanced the evolutionary link between dinosaurs and birds and provided evidence of group behavior in carnivorous dinosaurs. Now, therefore, the President of the City Council does hereby declare Friday, April 29th, 2022, be proclaimed Roy Chapman Andrews Day, to honor visiting explorer Dr. Philip Curry and to recognize the achievements of one of Beloit's most famous native sons. Adopted this day, April 2022, Clinton Anderson, President. There you go. Celestino has something to say.
Oh. Surprise. Well, thank you, City Council and City Manager and Council President for this proclamation. I'm Celestino Ruffini, board member of the Roy Chapman Andrews Society, and tonight I'm proud to accept this proclamation for this year's Distinguished Explorer recipient, Dr. Philip Curry. As Councilor Preschel mentioned in the proclamation, Dr. Curry is a dinosaur paleontologist and a museum curator, but he's also a professor at the University of Alberta. And most importantly, we're proud of the fact that Dr. Curry really has been inspired by Roy Chapman Andrews, a native son of Beloit and one of our most honorable citizens, and so glad to honor him with our Distinguished Explorer Award. His public lecture that the public is invited to is titled Hunting Dinosaurs in the Gobi Desert, Following in the Footsteps of Roy Chapman Andrews. The lecture and award ceremony will take place Friday, April 29th at 4:30 p.m. at the Beloit Public Library. Once again, all are welcome to attend. Thank you again for this proclamation.
3B is proclamation recognizing April 29th, 2022 as Arbor Day.
Laura Williamson is accepting the proclamation tonight.
An official proclamation. Whereas in 1872, J. Sterling Morton proposed to the Nebraska Board of Agriculture that a special day be set aside for the planting of trees. And whereas this celebration called Arbor Day was first observed with the planting of trees in Nebraska, and whereas Arbor Day is now observed throughout the nation and the world, and whereas trees can reduce the erosion of precious topsoil by wind and water, cut heating and cooling costs, moderate the temperature, clean the air, produce oxygen, and provide habitat for wildlife, and whereas trees are a renewable resource giving us paper, wood for our homes, fuel for our fires, and countless other wood products. And whereas trees in our city increase property values, enhance the economic vitality of business areas, and beautify our community. And whereas Beloit has been recognized as a Tree City USA by the National Arbor Day Foundation for 34 years and desires to continue its tree planting ways. Now therefore be it resolved that the City Council of the City of Beloit hereby proclaims Friday, April 29th, as Arbor Day in the City of Beloit, and we urge all citizens to support efforts to protect our trees and woodlands and to support our city's urban forestry program. And be it further proclaimed that all citizens are encouraged to plant trees to brighten the community and promote the well-being of present and future generations. Dated this day, April 20, 2022, Clint Anderson, President. And Laura Williamson from the DPW.
Thank you, Counselor. On behalf of the Public Works Department and our Forestry Division, we really appreciate this honor in celebrating Arbor Day. And to celebrate that this year, again, we're going to be doing a coloring contest for our youth to write a little brief paragraph of why we should plant a tree in a particular park. The child that is selected actually will have a tree planted in that park in early June. Thank you again.
Item 3C is proclamation recognizing the week of April 17th through the 23rd, 2022 as Municipal Treasurers Appreciation Week.
And we'll have our Clerk Treasurer, Marcy Granger, come on up to accept the proclamation.
Official proclamation. Whereas the Office of Municipal Treasurer is a vital part of local government that impacts the day-to-day life of residents in Beloit, and whereas the Municipal Treasurer's Office provides the necessary financial information to governing bodies and agencies at the local, county, and state levels, and whereas the municipal treasurers and their staff administer the procedures and keep the financial records that allowing governing bodies to carry out their public functions efficiently and confidently, and whereas all municipal treasurers are the official custodians responsible for proper management and investment of public funds, and whereas municipal treasurers work with the county treasurer to collect all property taxes for their own municipalities and counties, as well as local schools, technical colleges, and the state. And whereas municipal treasurers and their staff continually strive to improve the administration of the responsibilities of the Office of the Municipal Treasurer through participation in education programs, seminars, workshops, and conferences across Wisconsin. Now, therefore, the Beloit City Council recognizes April 17 to 23 as the Municipal Treasurer's Appreciation Week in Beloit, Wisconsin, and extends the appreciation to Marcy Granger, our city clerk treasurer, and for all her staff and for the vital services that they perform and their exemplary dedication to the city of Beloit. Presented this day, April 18th, 2022, Clint Anderson, Council President. And may we all clap for the tax collectors.
Thank you very much, and thank you to Eric, and thank you to the staff for all the work they do for me. Thank you.
Okay.
Item 3D is proclamation recognizing April 21st, 2022 as YWCA Rock County Stand Against Racism Day.
And Amy Levy will be here to accept the proclamation. No, other way.
Sneaking around there?
I'm making you work
Oh, boy. On my toes. Okay, official proclamation. And this is the real one. This is the big one tonight. Whereas all residents, regardless of race, creed, or ethnicity, deserve to be treated with dignity, respect, compassion, and justice. And whereas Beloit, Wisconsin residents value initiatives that will end race-based disparities and make the world a more equitable, inclusive, and dignified place for all to live. And whereas the elimination of racism can be achieved only with the participation of all residents in dialogue, reflection, and action. And whereas the City Council of Beloit, Wisconsin supports YWCA USA, YWCA Rock County in its praiseworthy mission to eliminate racism, empower women, stand up for social justice, help families, and strengthen communities. And whereas the City Council of Beloit proudly supports the YWCA Rock County in celebration of Stand Against Racism, a signature campaign of YWCA USA to build community among those who work for racial justice and to raise awareness about the negative impact of institutional and cultural racism in our communities. Be it resolved that the City Council of Beloit hereby declares Thursday, April 21st, 2022 as YWCA Rock County Stand Against Racism Day and encourages residents, local businesses, educators, and community and faith-based organizations to celebrate diversity and advocate for the elimination of racism. Presented this day, April 18, 2022, Clint Anderson, Council President.
Thank you, everyone, for the recognition of Stand Against Racism. As many of you may know, we will be in person this year, Thursday, April 21st, at the Lower Park Amphitheater in Janesville, outside of the courthouse. We are so excited to hear from Dr. Atira Coleman, who will be our keynote speaker. We have two fantastic students from the Fresh Start program at Community Action. One will be speaking on mental health. One will be rendering an original poem. I did the final run-throughs today, so as your schedule permits, I look forward to seeing many of you there. Again, it's this Thursday from noon until 1. We will be efficient and effective. Before the end of the program, everyone's going to be asking, so what can I do next? We hope to assist you in answering that question. We're going to have resources lined up for ways that you can connect in the local community to not just on this day or not just in this month of the year, but to really find ways that you can consistently and substantively stand against racism. So again, I like to see many of you on Thursday, and thank you again for this proclamation.
Item 3E is introducing newly hired and promoted employees.
Well, we're thankful to reinstate this. It's been a while since we've done this portion of the council meeting. So I'd like to start with Terry Downing, who will be introducing one of our new employees.
Hi, everyone. I think most of you know who Ashley Rosenbaum is, and she was our grants administrator, and now she is a police officer. So filling that position, that grants administrator position, we have Megan McBride. She started with us about a month ago. Yeah, and she's already doing a fantastic job.
Welcome.
Hi, nice to see and officially meet you all. I look forward to working with you.
Thank you. Up next, we have Chief Andre Sales.
My guy's not here, but I'll just tell everybody his name. We just recently hired Zachary Anderson. He came to us as a transfer from Greene County Sheriff's Department. He has 3.5 years experience, a year with Greene County, and then about a year and a half with Janesville Police Department, and then sometime with Williams Bay Police Department. So he's going to be a transfer for us. He's actually in field training right now, and they got called in early, so that's why he could not make it tonight.
Thank you.
Last, we have Ray Gorsline.
Well, I'm actually privileged because I have two employees. They're not here with me, but I welcome to my department Don Erdman. Comes to us with 10 years of IT experience, familiar with Windows 7, Windows 10, and also a lot of other IT solutions that we've been kind of in a need because of our help desk being short-staffed. So we welcome Don. We also welcome Mark Vanderjack as a service desk analyst. He's my second employee. He comes to us with varied background, more IT experience to bring to the table. He already kind of hit the ground running, him and Don. Our workload, we had, I want to say 250 help desk tickets. In a matter of 2 to 3 weeks here, these guys have knocked it back to 88. So we really are shrinking that gap, which gets us to move forward with the more proactive projects that we have out there and kind of get out of the minutia. So it's a welcome change, so I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Thanks, Ray. All right, thank you.
Item 3F is recognize outgoing counselors.
Probably doesn't faze you. No, Sarah's got that.
Sarah's doing that. Oh.
Well, Councilor
Okay.
Preschel. Yeah. Yeah. We're going to present this to you. This is just a little token of appreciation for all the years you've dedicated to the city of Beloit. And I'd just like to say I've had the real great privilege of becoming a good friend with Mark. I used to know him as a little kid as the Staples guy and also the guy with the camera. So it's been great to not only get to know him in that capacity, but as a city council member. So Mark, best wishes, whatever you do. I'm sure we'll see you public comment and probably on a commission because you can't stay away. But we really appreciate all the years that you've dedicated to the city of Beloit.
Well, it's been a real privilege. Yeah, it's been a real privilege. It was quite a reach when I took this reach, and I'm happy that people gave me the support to do it. And I won't be going anywhere. I'll just be riding my bike more and maybe taking a few more pictures, and I might have a few more things to say. But I'm not done yet.
Well, that was terrifying, but
I was looking for that.
And lastly, Vice President Keys couldn't be here today, but she wasn't feeling well. But I think we all know that she would have wanted to be here today, and just want us all to know that she will be missed. I know she was only here for one term, but when she did announce she wasn't running, I told her, "Wow, you took the worst 2 years ever to run for city council and be on here." She's been through a pandemic, and we know she'll be back as well. So we just wanted to make sure we acknowledge her, even though she's not here today. So, yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
So, Mr. President, as you're coming back to your seat, I would like to also thank Brittany for her services in the time that she did give. It was greatly appreciated. And then to Mark as well, as he said, he's probably still have a lot more to say that I think as a counselor and then serving in that role as president, I used to always tell Mark, you can't say that, or Mark, rein it in. Mark, or I could just look, got to the place where I could look at Mark and say, don't even think about it. But greatly enjoyed having you on here, getting the pictures of Beloit. You were outspoken, and I think that's what makes the council great, that we have individuals on here that speak their mind. And that's greatly appreciated. You cared about Beloit, and what I look at for councilors is people who love the city, not just getting on here just to say I'm a city councilor, but someone who really cares for the city, and you truly exemplified that with every decision that you wanted to make. It's always what's in the best interest of the city, which we all do. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you took it to the extreme, but we're like, okay, Mark, we got this. But I really just want to thank you for sharing the council seats on here and making Beloit a better place.
Well, I just want to say it took about one term, but you guys got to the point where you weren't wondering what's he gonna say next. You just stopped rolling your eyes and opening your mouths.
Excellent. Well, congrats again to Councilor Preschel and Vice President Keys.
Thanks.
Item 4 is public hearings. Item 4A is consideration of Resolution 2022-043, approving the vacation of a portion of Gateway Boulevard in the city of Beloit, Rock County, Wisconsin. Plan Commission recommendation for approval was 6-0.
Community Development Director Julie Christensen.
City Council has approved a purchase and sale agreement for 1901 Gateway Boulevard to allow for the construction of an industrial complex on the property. In front of 1901 Gateway Boulevard, in the right-of-way, is the Gateway Booster Station. The encroachment of a utility building in the right-of-way is irregular and will be cleaned up by this action. City staff is proposing to vacate 0.43 acres of land around the booster station, create a certified survey map for the new parcel of land prior to the closing on the sale of the land for development. That certified survey map was already approved by Plan Commission, subject to this vacation happening. And this was on March 7th. You declared the proposed vacation to be in the public interest and established a public hearing date of April 18th. All public notices were distributed and the Liz Pendens was recorded with the Rock County Register of Deeds. Plan Commission voted 6-0 to recommend approval of this vacation, and this is on your agenda for action tonight.
Thank you. At this time, the public hearing is now open. Would anyone wishing to speak in favor or oppose this item, please come forward at this time. Second call. Third call. Public hearing is now closed. Can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Levy, is there a second? Second by Duncan. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
I had a question. Did we just move with it? That's okay.
Okay.
I'll ask it later.
Item 5 is public comments.
We've reached a point in the agenda where members of the public may address the council about issues that may come before us in the future. Council may not act on any specific request, but may refer you to a staff member if needed. We ask that you keep your comments to 3 minutes or less and refrain from any personal attacks on council or staff. We do not require you to have a speaker form filled out, but we do ask that you do one. At this time, Madam Clerk, do we have any written common speaker request forms?
Yes. I have one. Dorothy Harrell.
Good evening. I'm coming this evening as a representative for a coalition of community groups from the city of Beloit, talking about the Good Trouble, Job, Justice Overcoming Borders, Lincoln Resistance, the NAACP, and Concerned Black Citizens. I'm here to read to you again some words that you heard on last month from Ms. Eunistine Glass about ARPA funds. And Eunistine said at that time that she resided in an area that, in her opinion, was carved out to ensure that black children of her neighborhood, 2035 South Mound, would attend Beloit Public Schools rather than attend school in the Turner District. Her comments on that night were to have you consider using ARPA funds that have been allocated to the city of Beloit. The Beloit School District has an estimated deficit of $10.9 million, and it is her understanding you are seeking community input on ways to use these funds. The American Rescue Plan allows the funds to be used to close budget gaps. Therefore, it was suggested a portion of the $15.2 million the city has be allocated to the School District of Beloit to offset some of the school district's budget deficits. She understood that the city and the school district agree that student resource officers are needed in the schools to provide safety and security to staff and students. That being the case, she said, could you think about using some of those ARPA funds to pay for the student resource officer? Therefore, the district could then redirect that cost to other critical areas they cannot afford. The Lincoln Academy Charter School opened in September 2021. Charter schools like Lincoln Academy divert funding and needed resources from our public schools while having no oversight from the community and very little, if any, from the state. You may be aware that on a certain Friday in September is what's called Seat Day. And on that day, wherever a student is seated, the money that the state gives to the school district is sent to them. Money then went to the Lincoln schools and they're not required to keep that student for the rest of the year. Soon after that, September Seat Day, many students were returned to the Beloit Public Schools, but the money does not follow them. The money remains where it went. And so that helps cause a deficit. So I listened to a school finance workshop done by Dr. Julia Underwood, who's the Dean of the School of Education for UW. And she talked about the fact that there are some municipalities in the state of Wisconsin that on the tax bill, they say how much money was diverted from the public schools to go to charter schools. That may be something we're interested in because the public needs to know. This is another one of those issues where people may not know, but it does impact them. There are many examples of students, and specifically black students, who are examples of successful graduates of the Beloit Public School District. The Beloit Public School District has produced and provided to the community many, many excellent individuals, well-suited for employment, and many of whom stay in this community. It is her hope that as the community, we will do our part, which is to make sure that all staff, all administrators, all school board members, and all city council members care about all students, not just some students. Again, her recommendation is one possible use of the ARPA funds would be to use some of that money to close the budget deficit that the Beloit Public School District is experiencing. Thank you.
Are there any other speaker forms filled out? Okay, so at this time, would anyone else like to speak? Second call, third call. Thank you. Madam Clerk, do we receive any written comments?
Yep, 2 of them. First, counselors, I would like to thank you for setting aside $2 million as a match for the county's set aside for the Next Step Transitional Housing Project. This is an important first step. I urge you to do more. We should leverage more of that match from the county, seen as how Beloit, quite frankly, has the greatest need for this project. Please, counselors, use the federal ARPA funding as it's intended, as immediate relief for our most vulnerable citizens who have been hit hardest by the COVID pandemic. Please commit to using more ARPA funds for the Next Step Transitional Housing Project. Sincerely, Jenny Hoople. Hello. To support our local wild bee population, which helps support our bird population among other things, I'm wondering what we need to do to get No Mow May happening here in Beloit. A bunch of other Wisconsin cities have jumped on board with this, including Appleton, Wausau, Oshkosh, Fort Atkinson, and Stevens Point. It's an easy thing our city can approve that surprisingly makes a big difference. Thanks so much, Jenny Hoople. Item 6 is consent agenda. All items listed under the consent agenda are considered routine and will be enacted by one motion. There'll be no separate discussion of these items unless a councilor member so requests, in which event the item will be moved from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda.
Would any council member like anything removed from consent agenda? Yes, Councilor Duncan.
I'd like to remove 6F, please.
6F has been removed from the consent agenda. Would any council member wish to have anything else removed from the consent agenda? If not, the consent agenda consists of 6A through 6E and 6G. Can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Blakely, second by Preschel. Any discussion? Not all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 6F is consideration of resolution 2022-069 authorizing the submittal of grant application to the Wisconsin Department of Natural for Local Assistance Land and Water Conservation Fund for the replacement of the Turtle Island Playground Phase 1.
I believe our Public Works Director, Laura Williamson, will present.
Good evening. I'm very excited to be bringing this forth. We're hopeful to leverage some city funds so that we can look at replacement of the much-needed replacement at the Turtle Creek Playground at Riverside Park. We've been looking to replace that for quite some time. Staff has been doing a great job trying to maintain that the best we can. And when this grant funding became available, we wanted to jump at the opportunity to get a grant submittal put together. So we are requesting from you this evening the authority to submit the grant. It has to be submitted by May 1st, I believe it is. And this would be the first of the phases. We have a master plan that's been attached in your packet. And we are looking to do phase 1, which would be the immediate playground, but then to illustrate for you what the long-term plans are. This is just very conceptual. There will be some further vetting with some of our community in the future. Happy to answer any questions.
Before we get to that point, can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Levy, second by Duncan. Any discussion?
Is there any talk of, I'm not recognized.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, Counselor
Is there
Blakely.
any
Yep.
talk of changing the name to Goose Island?
We have not discussed any of that at this point.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 7 is licenses. There are none. Item 8 is ordinances. 8A is consideration of ordinance number 3746, amending section 18.02, sub 15, sub T of the Code of General Ordinances of the City of Beloit, authorizing outdoor vending by the Badger Quad Chorus Guild Incorporated in Riverside Park. Second reading.
Public Works Director Roy Williamson will present. Well, actually, I take it back. Second reading. We will have you present if needed. Can I have a motion to approve? Motion by Levy, second by Preschel. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries.
Item 9 is appointments. The individuals named below have been nominated for a seat on a city board, committee, or commission. Each nomination is subject to confirmation by the city council. Approval of appointment will be accomplished by one motion unless a council member requests to take up a nomination separately, in which event the nomination will be removed from the general order of business and considered at this point on the agenda.
Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Motion by Forback, second by Preschel. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Enthusiastic. Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 10 is councilor activities and upcoming events.
Start with Counselor Levy. Counselor Blakely.
Yes. Thank you, Mr. President. This Saturday, April 23rd at 11 o'clock at Beloit Public Library, the library is hosting the launch of the Wongs, the Wong family, the Wongs of Beloit, Wisconsin. It's a new book written by Beloit College Professor Emeritus Beatrice McKenzie. In the early, I won't tell you the whole blurb from the book, but in the early 1900s, interestingly enough, Charlie Wong moved from Guangdong province in China to the United States, and here in Beloit opened the Nanking Lo restaurant. Soon after, his wife, Yi Shi, joined him to build the Chop House into a local institution and start a family. There was a terrible tragedy when Charles was murdered in 1938, and his wife, his widow, Yi Shi, raised their 7 children on her own. She had the option of returning to family-owned property in Hong Kong, but she and her children stayed on in Beloit. So in addition to this free, very friendly family book talk by the author, the event at the library will feature a panel discussion with several members of the Wong family, followed by free refreshments, which the Wong family are providing. I would like to take this opportunity to thank Council VP Brittany Keys for her service on Beloit Council and for all the work she does in the community. I know her love of Beloit and her commitment to taking care of the earth will continue as she moves forward. I would also like to thank City Councilor Mark Preschel. As you all know very well, he retires after this meeting. What will we do? He has been a vital part of the council for a long while and an important, engaged resident of Beloit for many years. Thank you, Mark, for all that you have done for us as a member of the council. Your spirit, your love of Beloit, your preparedness, your sense of humor, and your intelligence have all contributed greatly. I know we all wish you the best in your retirement, but you will be very much missed. I'll see you around the city with your camera, I'm sure. And thank you very much, Mark.
Thank you. Councilor Duncan?
Thank you, President Anderson. First, I want to acknowledge our two newly elected councilors who are here tonight, Marquise Terrell and Kevin Day. Great to see you here. We got a big night tomorrow night. We take our oaths. So great to have you. Next, I want to give an update about the Visit Beloit Board of Directors meeting. They welcomed two new directors, Roy Ward, manager of the Home 2 Suites by Hilton, and Jan Smith, who's the general manager of the Fairfield Inn and Suites. The Visit Beloit Board also reviewed the organization's finances, discussed positive trends in visitation to the region, review ways to incorporate broader levels of collaboration, innovation, and stewardship within the community, and had a discussion about their annual self-evaluation and opportunities that the organization can focus on to continue improving the quality of life in Beloit. Special thanks to Celestino Ruffini, the Executive Director of Visit Beloit, and his staff for their efforts. Next, for my councilor activities. Last week, I attended the Greater Beloit Economic Development Corporation Board Business Education Committee meeting and the Executive Committee meeting, and the State Line Boys and Girls Club Today's Dreamers, Tomorrow's Leaders celebration at the Eclipse Center. It was a wonderful event with local businesswomen. We interacted with the young girls who were there about embracing their future, and many of our city staff participated too. They're here tonight, a couple of them. Brandy, I hope I pronounced this right, Lee Antonio, our Executive Administrative Assistant, Sarah Locke, our Director of Strategic Communications, and our very own Chief of Police, Andre Sales. So thank you. It was so great to have you all there. We had a great time. Special thanks to Mark Rand, the State Line Boys and Girls Club, and everyone that was involved in this great endeavor. Also, I want to mention, in celebration of Arbor Day, which our Director Laura Williamson spoke to earlier, the City of Beloit has a coloring and writing contest for kids, kindergarten through the 5th grade. For information, you can go to our City of Beloit Facebook page. The submission deadline is Friday, April 29th. Also, I want to give a shout out to Mike Ferger, our Forestry Operations Supervisor, and his staff. Beloit was recognized as the 2021 Tree City USA by the Arbor Day Foundation. Way to go, team. I also want to recognize our Department of Public Works Department in honor of National Work Zone Awareness Week, and also give heartfelt thanks to our DPW department for wearing safety, yellow, standing in support of the Rock County Public Works employee who was involved in a tragedy while he was at work. Let's keep his family in our thoughts. Also, happy Municipal Treasurers Appreciation Week to Mary Granger, our City Clerk Treasurer, and her staff. Your hard work is truly appreciated. And in closing, I want to say heartfelt thanks and appreciation to Vice President Keys and Councilor Prushel. I just want you to know that I've truly enjoyed serving with both of you. Thank you both for your service, for your dedication, for your compassion, and for your caring, and your many contributions to the City of Beloit and to our residents. You will truly be missed. This ends my council report for this evening.
Thank you. Councilor Prush, we're going to save you for last. So, Councilor Forbeck?
I have no report.
Thank you. I'll move on to my report quickly, and then we'll pass it off to Councilor Prushel. I attended the opening game for the Beloit Sky Carp. If you haven't been there yet, go check it out. It's an amazing ballpark. It's definitely a huge upgrade from Pullman Field, although that will be missed, but it's really great to see an amazing ballpark downtown, and it's definitely worthwhile just to go in there and walk around and check it out. Then I just want to congratulate you again, Councilor Prushel, and Vice President Keys, who is not here, but thank you for all the years that you've dedicated to the City of Beloit. You know, we'll see a public comment next meeting, I'm sure. And I just wanted to congratulate and welcome our two new council members, Kevin Day and Marquise Terrell. Had a chance to sit down with both of you. I'm very excited to get to serve with you and get to know you both better. So welcome on board. We'll have you sworn in tomorrow. And lastly, just as my year as president comes to a close, I just want to thank all of you for making it easy. It's been great to work with all of you, and I really want to thank the staff too, who have made this so easy. I'm glad as during my year as president, I got to know you a little bit better, and really you made the city a better place, not just the council, but the staff. So I know we can't thank you enough. We have a great group here, and very honored to have served this year. So with that, I will pass it off to Councilor Prushel.
Well, I don't have any prepared remarks because basically everything I do is ad hoc. Yep, you see them all rolling their eyes. Oh my gosh, what's he gonna say next? Thank you, Regina. Thank you, everybody, for that. I've known most all of you, I've known for a long time. Longer than you'd like to admit, Clint, you know. I'm so glad you never went to that barber shop, so you didn't get any aspirations for politics. Regina, my wife's gonna miss you, because you're like the voice on the other end of the phone that she gets to hear. You know, she gets this inside scoop going sometimes and stuff. She really enjoys it. She's my gossip buddy. So I'm embarrassing you. Anyway, Nancy, long way from Riverfest, eh? Wow. And a long way from a guy who rode his bike around taking pictures and just was mad because, you couldn't go on the internet and find a picture of Beloit. All you could find is a picture of a glacier in Alaska.
Or a fawn, remember?
Oh, yeah.
There used to be a picture of a fawn. That said Beloit,
Yeah,
Wisconsin on it.
yeah. And then really going way back to when I got so mad at City Hall, and that was 1987. So I've been around a while. And that's really started the ball rolling. I mean, guys, when you get mad at City Hall, try to understand and, put together some thoughts, be constructive. I wrote 4.5-page letter to Dave Wilcox, and things changed thanks to it. Unfortunately, it didn't fix my problem because it was too late, but it did make a change, and that was the thing that really started the ball rolling, and I have a picture of it. But anyway, I'm not going to go anywhere this week. On the Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock, we have What the Tech. I'll keep doing that. My wife's trying to make me volunteer to do it twice a month. Anyway, we'll be doing that this Thursday at 1 o'clock from 1 to 3 at Grinnell Hall. And you'll see me around. The man in the booth over there has an idea for something, I don't know, resurrecting an old Beloit show that used to be on Access Television. I would imagine we'll update it for the 21st century, but Jonathan's back there listening to me going, what's he talking? No, I'll meet you next month in May. We'll get together. So hopefully we'll have fun. And one thing to remember when you're up here, guys, Marquise, Kevin, if you can't have fun, why are you doing it? As serious as it gets, try to smile. Don't let them beat you down, and just be tolerant, work through the system, be patient. One thing I learned about government is it takes time, and there's a good reason it takes time, because you don't want to screw it up. So I'm not a patient person, and I'm running out of it, so that's one reason I'm retiring. But it is tough, and it challenges you. And all of a sudden, people are going to care about what you say. So Marquise and Kevin, just be aware of that. It's kind of like sneaks up on you, and all of a sudden, it's like, where did that come from? Well, I guess I didn't ask. It wasn't what I was expecting, but it's part of the territory, and it's part of what you got to do. And I enjoy informing people, and I will continue to inform people. And but, Sarah, if you need any pictures, you know who to call. I don't charge. Just make sure you only get the good ones. You don't get to pick. All right. Thank you, Lori, for being so understanding. And Beth, thank you for not getting me sued. And I will see you all, and I will be back, and I will still be around. I'm just going to cut it back and do some things I really enjoy. And the Beloit Historical Society has got a place I want to visit too, get in their archives. So anyway, plenty of things to do. I don't lack for anything to do. And my wife, thank her for making me possible. And none of you know her like I know her, and all of you know her, and she knows none of you. So when you run into my wife, it's like, oh yeah, no, she doesn't know you. So be kind. Don't assume she knows anything about what you're talking about. She's been instrumental in getting me where I am today, and I just love this city. It's the right size. It's just the perfect size. And I hope that doesn't change. We make it better, not bigger. We just keep making it better. Thank you.
Thank you.
Item 11 is the city manager presentation.
I found a way to get the last word. No, in all seriousness, I just wanted to take a brief moment to also extend appreciation to let City Councilor Keys, although she wasn't able to be here tonight, and we worked together for one term, to thank her for her service. And Mark, we've worked together a long time.
6 years.
Yes. And I think that from my perspective in working with you, Mark has represented how building relationships and finding common ground and understanding one another. We did not, I know shockingly, always see eye to eye. And that's often the case between the manager and counselors. But I admire so much the relationship that we were able to forge in understanding one another in those roles and responsibilities, and building a partnership and working together. And I value it. I look forward to creating that with our newcomers, and want to thank you for the privilege of working with you for these 6 years.
Thank you, Lori. Oh, by the way, when I'm 85 in that nursing home, I'm going to be posting pictures of you from this time, and you're going to wonder, I thought he was dead. It will haunt you. I got the last word.
I was about to say that you got the last word. Yeah.
That's my.
I regret giving him an open forum, but it's okay.
Give me a Kleenex.
Next item, please.
Item 12 is reports from boards and city officers. 12A is consideration of Resolution 2022-060, approving a phosphorus water quality trading agreement with Will Who Acres LLC for parcel number 6-15-241 and 6-17-298.2.
So Frisbee will present the next couple items.
Good evening. We've got 3 water quality trading agreements. The first one is with Will Hugh Acres. These water quality trading agreements are for phosphorus compliance at the wastewater treatment plant. We did bring a couple of these to council for approval back in the fall. This first one with Will Hugh Acres is repealing the one we approved before and then recreating it. The landowner decided to pull one of the practices back out of the agreement and added in a couple more. So with these agreements, we're installing, or the landowners are installing some conservation practices on their land, and the city is funding it, and we get credit for all of the phosphorus removal from these practices. Doing this is much more cost effective than making upgrades at the treatment plant, and it happens upstream in these smaller waterways, tributaries to the Rock River, and we get the benefit for much longer rather than just at the wastewater plant discharge that's about 7 feet north of the state line. So we'll see the reduction all the way through the Rock River Basin coming through the community. This first one is for the installation of a couple of grassed waterways and I believe a conservation easement. This agreement will cost $2,776 per year for 10 years. And will remove 116 pounds of phosphorus per year, and that comes out to roughly $27.50 per pound. Any trades that are less than 50 are great. I've been hearing of others in the state that are averaging $100 to $150 a pound. So, any questions on this one?
Right.
Can I have I don't know if you'd like to present all of them and then have us vote, or if I can call for. Councilor Preschel said yes, so I will defer to him. So we'll keep going.
Okay, so the second one is with Richard Johnson Jr. This one is for the installation of a barnyard roof runoff system and a filter strip. So essentially it'll be adding downspouts to their barn and then go to storm sewer, bypassing the barnyard, running through a filter strip. This one's a little bit different because it will have an upfront payment of $19,000 for the installation of the storm sewer and the gutters on the barn, and then $192 per year for the next 10 years for the filter strip. The agreement does have a recapture on the $19,000 if they don't maintain the practice. This one removes 882 pounds of phosphorus per year, with the average cost over the course of it is just under $2,100 a year. And so this one's about $3 per pound. So this one is a fantastic trade for us. And then the third one is with Douglas A. and Suzette L. Hazeltine. It's for the installation of a grassed waterway. This one is much smaller. It's $393.60 per year for the 10 years and will remove approximately 11.7 pounds of phosphorus per year and a $39 per pound trade.
Thank you. Before we get to questions, can I have a motion to approve item 12A? Motion by Preschel, second by Duncan. Counselor Forbeck?
I just have a question for you, Bill. I was reading about the grass, and there's different grasses that go into this. Is this best practices just something from Beloit, or is it some ruling from the state, or how do you decide what they should plant?
So we're partnering with the Rock County Land Conservation Department.
Okay.
And they're doing all of the design work on exactly how they should be designed and installed.
Okay, great. It was just very interesting to really read every detail.
Yeah, and then the county also will do all of the annual inspections to ensure that these agreements or the maintenance plans are being upheld. And the agreement is recorded as a deed restriction to ensure that it remains in place and properly maintained for the future.
Good work.
Counselor Preschel?
Well, actually, mine's about the next item that we're going to vote on, the diversion, but if you want to wait.
Yeah.
Okay.
Counselor Duncan?
And maybe I should wait too, but I just wanted to say thank you to staff for their work on this and also for their trade agreement and the resolution that was in the report. But I just wanted to mention that under sustainability, it stated that the water quality trading will reduce the amount of phosphorus entering our local waterways. The reduction will happen upstream in smaller tributaries, providing for greater benefit at significantly lower cost compared to upgrades at the treatment plant. And it also conforms with our strategic plans 2, 4, and 5. So I just wanted to mention that. So thank you for your work on that.
Further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
We are on to item 12D. Consider.
I'm going to interrupt.
Sorry,
We need
12B.
and 12C.
12B, consideration of resolution 2022-01 approving a phosphorus water quality trading agreement with Richard Johnson Jr. for parcel number 6-14-1.
Motion by Levy.
Second.
Second by Blakely. Any discussion?
I was just going to thank Bill for explaining that runoff was going into a storm system that I couldn't see on the map on the diagram, and I knew there was a reason behind it. It's not what you normally see with these kind of trade-offs. But the big thing with the phosphorus is it helps eliminate the hit in our streams, which are important for fish spawning, and all those wonderful panfish and turtles and things that make it an active ecosystem. That's where we want to get the phosphorus before it gets to those. So this is a good trade-off.
Each pound of phosphorus can produce roughly 100 pounds of algae in the waterways. So.
Yeah, and it's so it's better to get it before than after, which is basically what we're doing at the sewer plant. Do we capture our stormwater runoff before it goes into anything? Is there any filtering on that at all from our streets?
Some of the stormwater goes into detention basins.
Right.
And a lot of the phosphorus will attach to suspended solids, and when it settles out there, you capture portions of it, but not a lot of it.
Yeah, that was one of the reasons we put all those ponds in the golf course.
Correct.
And enhance the golf course at the same time, so.
Yep. The same legislation that's requiring this phosphorus removal applies to stormwater also. We're still working through those plans, but one option is water quality trading, just like this plan.
I know every time there's development, there's a stormwater plan that usually involves settling of some kind. So it's good to know, and I'm thankful you explained it all so well.
Any further discussion?
Thank you.
If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
12C is consideration of Resolution 2022-071, approving a phosphorus water quality trading agreement with Douglas A. and Suzette L. Hazeltine for parcel number 6-4-22938.
Motion by Levy. Is there a second? Second by Forbeck. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries.
Item 12D is consideration of Resolution 2022-078, amending the parameters resolution adopted March 7th, 2022, establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $3,340,000 general obligation corporate purpose bonds, Series 2022A, with respect to true interest costs.
And Eric Miller will present and just give a rundown of the next couple items, and then we'll do a roll call vote on each item. So, Eric Miller.
Great, thank you. So council approved the initial resolutions back on March 7th related to our bond issuance that is going to be used to fund our capital improvement program. That's going to include our notes issue, our bond issue, and a refunding water revenue bond issue. In those resolutions, you approved certain parameters for us to be able to execute the sale of those bonds and notes. Since that time, interest rates have increased fairly significantly. We're bordering at the top edge of the original parameters that were initially approved. And so tonight, the three resolutions before you simply increase the parameters slightly to give us a little more cushion when we go to the open market to sell those bonds. I'd be happy to answer any questions. Just individually, the 2022A bonds will be increasing the parameter from 3.25 to 4. The 2022B notes will be increasing the parameter from 3 to 3.5. And the 2022C will be increasing the parameter from 3.05 to 3.5. Also in that initial resolution for the water refunding bond, we do have a decrease from at least, from the present value, from at least 4.5% savings to 2.5% savings. So those are the parameters that we'll be adjusting tonight if they are approved.
How soon do these sales take place?
We're hoping to go to sale on Wednesday.
Okay.
Is there a motion to approve?
I so move.
Motion by Forbeck, second by Preschel. Any discussion? Eric, I just have a kind of just for public information purposes. So like,
Yes.
let's say we decided not to do this tonight.
Yes.
How difficult would that make it if we exceeded the parameters?
If we exceeded the parameters, the city manager and I would not be able to execute the bonds when they go to sale on Wednesday. We would then simply have to come back to you and basically start the process all over again, which would then potentially extend the sale of future bonds another 5 to 6 weeks, which then, of course, we're looking at additional increases in interest rates. So could potentially just be increasing your overall cost to your bond issuances.
Excellent, thank you.
I just had
Yeah.
one
Councilman.
clarification, again, for public information purposes. This is basically this is market-driven. The rates we're going to get when we offer the bonds are going to be market-driven.
For sure.
We're not setting the rate here. We're
Correct.
just setting the top rate we'll pay. This is basically what we're doing.
That's exactly right. These are all
And
free market.
the market
open
itself
sales.
will decide, and it's a competitive market. They all want the bid, then the incentive for them is to bid down, to come in at a lower rate to give us the best financial package. So there is competition here, and we're not just setting a flat rate, give it to me kind of thing. So
Correct.
it's market-driven.
Yep,
I just
we
want to
aren't
make sure
setting the
people
rate.
understand that.
Exactly.
This is not a dictatorial position that we're in,
That's right.
as so often. Okay, thank you.
Excellent. Any further discussion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
Counselor Blakely. Counselor Levy. President Anderson.
Aye.
Counselor Forbeck.
Aye.
Counselor Preschel.
Aye.
Counselor Duncan.
Aye.
The motion passes 6-0. Item 12E is consideration of Resolution 2022-079, amending the parameters resolution adopted March 7th, 2022, authorizing the issue of and establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $1,935,000 general obligation promissory notes, Series 2022B, with respect to true interest cost.
Is there a motion to approve? Motion by Levy, second by Duncan. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask clerk to call the roll.
Counselor Blakely.
Aye.
Counselor Duncan.
Aye.
Counselor Forbach.
Aye.
Counselor Levy.
Aye.
Counselor Preschel.
Aye.
President Anderson.
Aye.
That motion passes 6-0. Item 12F is consideration of Resolution 2022-080, amending the perimeters resolution adopted March 7th, 2022, authorizing the issuance of and establishing parameters for the sale of not to exceed $2,105,000 water system revenue refunding bonds, Series 2022C, with respect to true interest cost and present value debt service savings.
I so move.
Motion by Forbeck, second by Levy. Any discussion? If not, I'll ask the clerk to call the roll.
President Anderson.
Aye.
Counselor Blakely.
Aye.
Counselor Duncan.
Aye.
Counselor Forbach.
Aye.
Counselor Levy. Counselor Preschel.
Aye.
The motion carries 6-0. Item 13 is adjournment.
Second.
Motion by.
Motion. To adjourn.
I'm gonna take Preschel on this, so motion by Preschel, second by Levy. Any discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries. We're now adjourned. Thank you, everybody.